Well, a very good evening to you and welcome to News Tonight here on GHOne Television. We are live from our studios at the Platinum Place, North Ridge here in Accra. Now, coming up in the next hour. Pressure mounts on Speaker of Parliament as NPP caucus triggers Article 1123 to demand a recall of Parliament to attend to urgent government business. Also, New Patriotic Party accuses the NDC of moves to rig the 2024 elections by disrupting parliamentary procedures. We've got details of that for you. And then again, Imani Ghana is also accusing government of mismanagement of COVID funds, and we'll tell you more later on the bulletin. Stick and stay with us. Grateful for your company this evening. I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah. Welcome to the bulletin. Let's now dive quickly to insights. Second Majority Chief Whip, Alex Tete, has served notice of a recall to Parliament to the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin. Now, in a memo cited by GH1 News, the Sefi Akontombra legislator highlighted the urgency of recalling Parliament to resume essential government work, including the passing of crucial bills and deliberations on national matters. Now, the trigger, according to the memo, was premised on Article 1123 of the 1992 Constitution and Order 53 of Parliament Standing Orders. Now, he further expressed concern that the indefinite adjournment risks delaying vital economic interventions, which the government is pushing forward to address current challenges. Well, so that's the majority stance on the matter. Now, you recall the Speaker indefinitely adjourned sitting. But let's talk about this because governance expert Professor Bafwa Jimandia, he believes that a recall of Parliament will not yield the desired results unless extensive consultations are carried out to fashion an amicable solution to the parliamentary standoff. He spoke earlier on Newsroom with Lantam Papanko.
I'm aware of that approach. You collect a number of the signatures of the parliamentarians and you get the right number. By law, Parliament has to be convened. But you see, if the Speaker is still determined to cover, because he can come and still not allow business to run. So I don't think is the right move. I think the best move is to consult. Let's put our heads together. And let's find a way out. Now, sticking to guns, as I keep saying, or finding a way to go around it when the Speaker, so far as the Speaker controls the Parliament. You can't go around that. So he must be brought back by whatever means possible for him to maybe reconsider his stance in the interest of the nation and then help all of us out. Look, it's not in anybody's interest to be legalistic, to say this my turf. You are there for what? It's for the country. So this parochial thinking, this is mine, I can do it this way, is the most dangerous thing for any leader to do. At this point, we want our leaders, the Speaker, the President, the Chief Justice and parliamentarians, all of them should rise above partisanship. They should rise above partisanship.
Well, let's get on the phone lines and speak to Alex Tete, Member of Parliament for Sefi Akontombra. Well, thank you so much for your time. So what really triggered this particular decision to get Speaker to recall Parliament?
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. what actually triggered this particular constitutional instrument is that we came last week to do these businesses or the items that I have listed on the petition I have sent to Speaker.
Right. But
we are not able to actually do it because of one or two issues and the other statement from the Speaker. So, as the members of Parliament in the majority side, we thought wise that we need to recall Parliament for us to actually deal with the items that I have listed on the petition, like the 1D1F tax exemption. We are all in this country hearing that government to create job opportunity for the youth. And the companies, about 46 companies have actually submitted these proposals that they want to establish factories in the various constituencies, including the minority, some of the minority constituencies. So we need to come back and give them the tax exemption to enable them to actually start working in the various districts that they have actually stated in their request to Parliament. Also, we need to actually pass the Ghana boundary bill. If you can recall, when we discovered oil, Kodjo actually sent us to international court that the land that we have discovered oil belongs to them. And it took the court to actually pronounce that the land belongs to Ghana. So for now, people have done extensive work on the Ghana boundary and other countries. And we need to actually pass this particular instrument to help the nation. The EPB bill and the budget bill. And that is why, through my leader, GHOne, has actually instructed me to put in a request through the senators that I have corrected.
All right. So basically, I spoke to Alexander Penyo-Markin earlier this week, and he mentioned that, well, looking at what is happening in Parliament, it doesn't matter. Government business can continue after the election. So what changed now?
Now we need to actually pass this financial, the loan, the one that I've actually mentioned, the EPL bill, and he's the leader of the House and the leader of the government business. So he has actually triggered this constitutional instrument by instructing me as a deputy whip to actually send the petition to Speaker. And personally, I have handed over the petition. And we are not doing anything on call for. We are using the constitutional instrument and our standing order of Parliament. So we are waiting for the Speaker to respond to our request. And at the end of the day, I think we can reconvene and pursue government business.
And when that does not happen, what are the likely ramifications?
Well, the law lies on the Speaker. And I think Speaker is a law-abiding person, Speaker, because he has been in Parliament for almost 32 years now. He's a astute lawyer. And he knows the Constitution implications if he doesn't go by the request. And I believe we have, it's not only this one, we have requested on several occasions. The Speaker has actually obeyed to whatever request that we put it. So we believe that Speaker will reconvene the House for us to deal with these items that I have mentioned on the petition.
Well, very well. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's Alex Tete speaking to us on the developments. What they have done is that he is rather triggering Parliament through the Speaker to, as it were, based on Article 1123 of the Constitution. And now, Article 1123 of the Constitution states that notwithstanding any other provision of this article, 15% of members of Parliament may request a meeting of Parliament, and the Speaker shall, within 7 days after the receipt of the request, summon Parliament. And then he also cites Standing Order 53.1, which states that despite any other provision, 15% of the members of Parliament may request a meeting of Parliament, and the Speaker shall, within 7 days after receipt of the request, summon Parliament. He also cites Standing Order 53.2, which stipulates that Parliament shall convene within 7 days after the issuance of the notice of summons. So that is what he is basing. In fact, their side, the NPP caucus, is basing on to request Speaker to reconvene Parliament immediately so that they can look at some urgent businesses. And from your screens, you can see the businesses he was referring to, talking about the request for tax exemptions for designated beneficiaries under the 1D1F program, the Ghana Financial Stability Fund, which is an international development association facility of $250 million. Now, these are all outstanding. This Parliament wants to deal with these things before the expiration of Parliament. Parliament. Unfortunately, as it stands now, we do not know exactly what is going to happen because Speaker decided to adjourn the House Senate on yesterday. So basically, that's what happened. And now we need to have a conversation. I've been joined by Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Ibrahim Mutala. Mohammed, how are you doing?
I'm good.
I hope you're doing well.
I'm managing. I think everybody manages.
You are managing?
Except those who live within the four walls of the Flagstaff.
But you're a Member of Parliament. How are you managing?
Well, I am concerned about my constituents and the fact that everybody is struggling to survive in this country. It is appropriate for us to just manage. You can live a decent life in Ghana under President Nana Addo and Dr. Bawumia. I mean, if you do live a better life, I wouldn't know. Because looking at the rate at which the inflation is rising, fuel prices are escalating, the dollar has become a fugitive. Man, when Dr. Bawumia told us that he had arrested it and gave the key to the IGP, nothing seemed to be working because you have a bunch of corrupt individuals who are manning the affairs of this country. And don't take my words. Take the words of the CDD, the Afrobarometer. Take the words of the Corruption Perception Index. I mean, President Mohammed's lowest is what they are celebrating today. We are now spending $3 billion in the importation of rice and poultry products in this country when we're spending just $500 million under the NDC. Right. Tell me what is working correctly in this government.
Interesting. Well, but let's talk about Parliament yesterday. I mean, for some people, it was a spectacle. Now, the MPP caucus says that you basically are trying to stampede government business. You are not making government business progress.
I mean, sometimes when I listen to our colleagues, I just say, God forgive them. Because frankly speaking, the Constitution, the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana enjoins us to do everything possible, even the use of violence means, to defend the Constitution and the democratic processes we are practicing in this country. What has occasioned all this? Because you have one party, in this case, the NDC majority, which is demanding things be done rightly, and the MPP minority, which is demanding that things be done through their Takashi way. And for me, that is the shocking aspect of it. You remember on Thursday, long before the Speaker gave his ruling in the matter of the 4 affected members of Parliament, Afenyo Markins had already gone to court. So I was wondering, on what basis did the court even give him a hearing? That the Speaker hadn't made any pronouncement on these 4 members of Parliament, yet he went to court.
Well, I spoke to him, and he said that he had picked indication from your side that you were going to trigger this. So he went to court based on that.
So I'm coming, and the court granted that. Then God saved this country. So if I'm having an argument with you, and I suspect that you will slap me, then I quickly ran to court, saying that I'm suing this person for assault, and the assault hadn't taken place because I suspect that I will be assaulted. It's ridiculous. And another even very important point which many people are glossing over, and I expect the media to be interested in this. You remember we approved the vote and proceedings of last Thursday, yesterday?
Yes.
Now, what happens in Parliament? When you have proceedings in Parliament, you approve the proceedings, adopt and approved the next day or the next sitting. Now, until the approval is done and adopted, it cannot be deemed to be an official document from Parliament. Afenyo Markins went to court on the basis of what happened last week Thursday, on something that had not been adopted by Parliament. Shockingly, whether he deceived the Supreme Court or the Supreme Court failed to do due diligence. Mind you, when we were approving the vote and proceedings of last Thursday, there were 2 or 3 major amendments in that document. And that is why when you come after the prayer, the Speaker, the first action the Speaker takes is to approve and adopt the vote and proceedings. And the Speaker will say page 1, page 2, page 3. Now, if Afenyo Markins went to court using evidence that was not official, purporting to be coming from Parliament, that was even a deceit of court. And I am shocked that the Supreme Court gave him a listening ear. So the argument that is being made, that the Supreme Court had made a ruling and that Parliament is unwilling, or the majority side is unwilling to respect that ruling, for me is shocking. Another very important point. If you read Article 9 of the NPP's own manifesto, it states very clearly that if any member of the NPP or a member of Parliament contest as an independent member of Parliament against any NPP member, such a person automatically forfeits.
Automatic forfeiture.
His membership. His membership. So as we see today, NPP, those members are not NPP members. And Afeni Makin's argument is that they went to court and argued on the basis of natural justice, that people must be given fair hearing. When we raise the question that the natural justice and the demand of same should be done by the affected persons, they argue by saying that, oh, it has a bearing on us because they are members of our party. When in actual fact, by the party's own constitution, they are no longer members of the NPP.
Interesting. So you're not frustrating government business?
Why should
because now they've triggered a recall of Parliament.
Why should we frustrate government business? But let's look at even the items they want us to come and look at. That $350 million tax exemption is a fraud, robbery, thievery. This is a country that goes in. We are begging $100 million loan. Yet we are giving $350 million tax exemption to foreign companies. Does it make sense? So those people who would have paid the money anyway, those companies would have paid $350 million to Ghana. Government of Ghana says, no, don't pay. We'll give it to you free. But we are going begging for $100 million because there are friends, family members behind those things. You read the 1D1F document. Why? It is, the policy position is very clear. For any company to benefit from the tax exemption under the 1D1F, that company must show proof of jobs they will be creating as a result of what you are giving them. They haven't even shown that.
They've not shown the evidence.
I mean, the other one, they want to hoodwink Ghanaians into believing, oh no, it is about the galamsey. You don't need those laws to prevent galamsey. We have enough laws in this country.
Right.
What you need to stop the galamsey is the political will. And within President Nanodo, Dr. Bome, and the entirety of the NPP, political will has taken a sabbatical leave.
You're not seeing political will at work? The fight against galamsey.
This is the president who told everybody that he's putting his presidency online. That man doesn't have principles. He doesn't have honor. If he had, he would have resigned.
Okay. Well, one of the things that we've also been told clearly from the NPP, they have mentioned today, for instance, Richard Ahiagba, the Director of Communications, he says that he cited a document.
You take that, gentleman.
And he says the document shows that what is happening now is part of a plan, a grand plan to rig the 2024 elections by the NDC.
See, there's a saying.
But you know what? Let's go and take a listen to Richard Ahiagba. We'll come back and get a response from you on that.
So I want to read from the document analyzing the 2020 election laws. One of the key, this is the NDC document. The subtitle is Failure of Resource Coalition System. One of the reasons for the NDC's loss in the 2020 election was that the party failed to implement a robust system for collating election results across the country. Effective collation and monitoring and results collation are critical in the electoral process, especially in a closely contested election like that of the 2020. Now,
so that is Richard Ahiagba, the Director of Communications for the NPP. He says the NDC, your party, wants to rig the 2024 elections, and so you are disrupting parliamentary processes, and this is part of a grand scheme. In fact, there's a document from 2021 that is yet to make available to us. Is that the case? Are you trying to rig the election?
You know, clowns are in short supply these days, but you can find many in the NPP. You see, when the chief comes home with weird haircut, what do you expect his subjects to do? They come home with topejo. You know topejo. Those of us who don't have hair, we can't even have topejo. Topejo, when we were kids,
right,
they do that. Why? I thought the clownish in terms of political communication was demonstrated by only Dr. Bawumia. When he made that statement, journalists demanded to have a copy. He said, I won't give you. How? Wouldn't that be damaging to NDC the more? If indeed the NDC had a secret document, for which reason you saw the need to go publicly and say that the NDC had a secret document, you would want even Ghanaians to have it,
right? So
that it exposed the NDC the more.
So you believe there's no truth in what Richard Ahiagba
Do you
is saying?
take that gentleman serious?
But he's the Director of Communications for the governing New Patriotic Party.
I'm saying that Dr. Bawumia himself, do you take him serious?
He's the Vice President.
But he's been lying.
We need to take the Vice President serious.
Look, my senior brother was right, ABA, when he says that when Dr. Bawumia greets you good afternoon, don't just respond. Look at the position of the sun, or you check your watch before you respond. Do you take them serious? I've just asked you.
Right.
You think that it is so dangerous for our democracy. You want to damage the NDC. journalists demand that, can you give us a copy? What responsible political parties do?
Okay.
He would have made even photocopies of that document.
Right.
And then he says, I won't give you that copy. You see, it is just an attempt. One thing I can tell you.
Briefly.
As far as we are concerned, the NDC is majority. There is no denying that fact.
Okay.
And when they recall, and another point I don't want to forget.
Briefly.
On the recall, the standing orders and the constitution, the constitution are all very clear. That the speaker would be given about 1 week.
1 week, 7 days.
So the speaker, and they are now saying that within the 1 week, the speaker should receive it and call us to come back within 1 week. What nonsense.
It doesn't work.
Look, I'm saying that, but for the interaction and engagement I had with your radio station and this one, I would have been in my constituency. Right. Now, you are now telling the speaker that, yes, you have to use 1 week. What the speaker will do, 1 week, then the speaker would have to give members of parliament the time.
Okay.
Because a lot of us...
It's not possible.
No,
what they're asking for is
not possible. A lot of us would... And in any case,
right.
When we come to the chamber, we will sit on the majority side.
You still sit on the right-hand side of the speaker?
We are the majority.
Very well. Well, Tamale Central MP Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed speaking to us there. Grateful for your time this evening. But one of the things we are asking is, what are the likely implications of this standoff on parliamentary business? Ibrahim Al-Hassan is our parliamentary affairs correspondent, and he's been explaining that particular one to us.
Regardless of when Speaker recalls Parliament, they will have to sit what you call extended sitting, meaning they will have to sit on Saturdays and Mondays, and sometimes even possibly on Sundays to be able to make up if this new CI is expected to mature. Otherwise, I think the judiciary will have to just revert to the old CI that was used for the 2020 election petition. Aside that, of course, the man talked about free teachers bill. In fact, as of yesterday, there were 5 bills from the educational sector that were supposed to have been laid, including the free teachers bill. There's university bill. There are many other outstanding. There's open university bill as well. There are conversations already in that regard that Ghana is going to make room for open or virtual universities. That bill is still outstanding. Again, you are aware that the finance minister is expected in Parliament to get some amount of allocation, expenditure in lieu of appropriation, because this is an election year. In Ghana, when it's an election year, no budget is presented. Because, as I always say, you don't know who your president will be next year. You don't know who your finance minister will be next year. And so the finance minister will have to come and get a legal backing for the president to spend from the consolidated fund. That's equally outstanding.
We're still talking about business in Parliament. If you've been keeping tabs on Ghana's 8th Parliament, now you will know it's got everything from action to suspense and more drama than your favorite telenovela. So from fisticuffs to ballot snatching to ballot paper chewing. Right, memories. To Joaboso MP Kwabena Minta Akando almost receiving a lap dance from Ablekuma West MP Ursula Owusu-Kufo in the chamber. And let's not forget the musical chairs of majority and minority leadership. Oseche Mensah and Harun Idrisu out, replaced by Kwabena Apenyomakin and Dr. Atuforsen. But wait, the latest plot twist, the majority turns minority saga. Well, my colleague Jojo Kobna tells this the longest running drama series in Ghana's history, with the final episode set to end on the 6th of January 2025.
Can you recognize your member of parliament? No? Well, before you do, let's rewind to the very beginning of the longest running political drama in town, the 8th Parliament of Ghana. A saga of twists, turns, and fistfights. It all kicked off with a bang. Ballot paper snatching, chewing, and yes, sprinting. Who needs action movies when we have got Parliament? The 2020 election produced a hung Parliament, meaning no majority easy way out. So when the controversial e-levy came up, let's just say tensions hit boiling point, literally. The e-levy vote saw Ahanta West MP Alexander Kodjo wheeled in by ambulance. Nanton MP Hadi Tuferi sped into Parliament despite a car accident to vote on 3 revenue bills. You would think he was auditioning for the Fast and Furious spin-off. Tamale South MP Haruna Idrisu raised the stakes, invoking Article 97 to throw a curveball attempting to formalize and establish the NDC as the majority. The plot thickens.
I am very certain that Parliament and Ghana will go through a major constitutional test, and that constitutional test is that the NDC minority must become the majority from Wednesday next week.
Former Speaker Michael Quay had set a precedent. Speaker Alban Bagbin followed suit, declaring the seats of some MPs vacant for switching political tickets.
How does an MP operate both as an elected independent MP and at the same time an MPP MP if he should win the election? This lacuna of a ridiculous situation is not what is anticipated under the 1992 Constitution. In the circumstances, Parliament it is determined that the conduct of Honourable Andrew Amoako Esiama amounts to vacating his seat in Parliament.
I proceed to inform the House that by the notification of the polls, the following members of Parliament have by their actions vacated their seats in Parliament. These MPs cannot be allowed by law and my good self to continue to pretend to be representing people that they don't believe in and they don't have any loyalty for in this House any longer. The House is accordingly so informed.
But hold on, the majority wasn't going down without a fight.
The matter that came before us has interpretation reliefs, and that you do not have the power to interpret the Constitution, and that your duty is to enforce. Mr. Speaker.
Honourable member, you are not listening to me.
Mr. Speaker, may I finish with respect?
All what you said are wrong, so
Mr.
I
Speaker,
cannot continue to allow you to keep on misleading the House.
They rushed the Supreme Court to stay Bagwin's decision. And if you thought MPs couldn't be punctual, you would be wrong. On October 2nd, many MPs got up early, showing up as early as 6 a.m. just to grab the coveted majority spot in the chamber.
I don't want to glorify that kind of allegation. I came here as part of my duty. It's not only these days or today that I come to work early. Every time I come to work early.
First on the scene in Sawam Adoajiri MP Frank Anodompre, but Adaklu MP Kwame Agboja wasn't having any of that.
Why is Anodompre already sitting in there? When we were told that the room opens at 8 o'clock, he's already sitting in there. So they are the ones who are going to cause the fight.
Both sides fought for control at the chamber like it was the last jollof at a party. In this showdown, the MPP eventually walked out, leaving the NDC to celebrate in style. No blows exchanged this time, just some good old-fashioned jeers and victory songs.
The elephant is the winning table. We are going to sing and
So, can you identify your MP now? If not, just tune in to the next episode. Who knows what drama awaits Ghana's political theatre? Jojo Kobna, GHOne News.
Who knew your MP had such amazing marching skills? Well, that's it for Inside this evening.
Nana, who are you voting for this year?
It's tonight here on GHOne Television with me, Joshua Kodjo Mensah. Let's start Election Hub now. Well, with 45 days to the December 7 elections, head pastor of the Assemblies of God Church in GHOne in the Kodjo North constituency, Solomon Pencil, has described the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as a corruption-free personality. Speaking during a stakeholder engagement in GHOne as part of the NPP flag bearers tour of the Volta region, Pastor Pencil said Dr. Bawumia is a politician who cannot be tagged with corruption. Musa Lansa reports.
That was how students of the GHOne Senior High School welcomed the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to the Kodjo North constituency. The flag bearer, who has been in the Volta region since Sunday, has been engaging with traditional rulers, the clergy, and identifiable groups as well as party supporters.
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you, inshallah, the next president of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia.
It was no different in the Kodjo North constituency, where he met with the chiefs, pastors, imams, and other groups. Taking his turn to speak, head pastor of GHOne Assemblies of God, Solomon Pencil, described the NPP flag bearer as a corruption-free individual.
A personal lifestyle, which is characterized with discipline, is noticeable all the place. It's something we want to commend you for. You are one politician that cannot be tagged with the issue of corruption. Permit me to say that, Your Excellency, it appears you are corruption-free. I don't know, maybe you have some injection that helps you immunity against corruption.
The paramount chief of the GHOne traditional area, Togbega Joku V, while praising the NPP flag bearer for using his office to push some policies, appealed for some development projects to the area.
Your thoughtful gesture has brought immense peace, joy, and pride to our community. The leadership and vision have been a beacon of hope for our people, and we are eternally grateful for your tireless efforts in promoting our welfare and development.
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia took his time to outline his policies, stressing the prioritization of agriculture in the area.
If you vote for Bawumia, you will have accountability. You will have accountability. Because I have to come back. I have to come back in 4 years' time and tell the people of Kodjo North what I have done for them. But when I come in 4 years' time, I have to give an account on all of these things. So because I know I have to give an account, I'm going to work very hard to deliver for you so that in 4 years I can say I finished these roads, I finished this water, and so on.
The MPP flag bearer later addressed a community connect rally at the GHOne Lorry Park, where he assured the gathering of his commitment to moving Ghana to a different level if given the mandate in December.
Now, a former Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Charles Yao Ahetochaga, has cautioned management of the Ghana Education Service to take time in planning the reporting of first-year students. Now, it follows concerns raised by parents and guardians who say they've not had enough time to prepare adequately. It follows also the GS directive for all first-year students to report on October 30 after the West Africa Examinations Council, WAEC, released provisional results of the BECE. Now, speaking to my colleague Lantan Papanko on a newsroom, former GS Director Charles Ahetochaga cautioned management of the Education Service to be meticulous in their work.
I think the parents are really justified The whole education system has actually been worked out into a kind of a rush. And I guess, I mean, with the parents complaining, everybody who is really minded would know that parents are beginning to get frustrated about a lot of sudden changes in the programs that have happened within the academic year this year. So I think they are justified in their complaint. I would want to tell the Ghana Education Service to take time in terms of planning all of this. I mean, everything seems to be in a rush, and that is certainly not in the interest of parents. Parents would have to prepare to get their children in school. Now, if you look at the whole circumstance, you see that you get parents moving on the road in whatever dimensions or areas to get their children on the 28th, and then they will come home, and then they'll come back and get their children to go back to school on the 30th, and then they have to prepare the children. It's a whole mess for many parents in terms of all of these things. They have to get their children ready to go to school. So that I would tell the GES to look at this thing again. There will be nothing wrong for the children to go to school in the mid-November, to allow parents to be able to deal with their children who are in school now, and then get enough time to prepare their children to go to SS1 as it is. So for me, that is just what should happen to ensure that we have a very lively academic year for the next academic year that is coming, and also for the people who are punching.
Right. Well, let's speak now to the Deputy PRO of the National Council for Parent-Teacher Associations of Ghana, Irene Sam. Irene, thank you for joining us. So basically, what exactly are the concerns with the reopening dates? I mean, weren't you already preparing for that?
Well, let me say good evening to your cherished listeners and viewers once again. Yes, you can rightly say that Irene is preparing already, but as we speak now, no preparation has gone on. We just woke up one day and then they have brought up academic calendar. BEC candidates who just wrote their exams and their results are just out. They are going to report on 30th October. And they're reporting whether they are going to just there to take their prospectus or what. We don't even know what it entails. So right now, as we stand now, parents all over Ghana, we are just confused. We are perplexed. We don't know exactly what we are supposed to do. Because if you have to report on 30th, reporting on for what? What and what are you reporting on? Are they really going to school? And what are they even bought? We have not done anything. No preparation have gone on. So we just want to use this media to approach the GS management that on the 30th, if maybe we are going for prospectus, fine. Then they can come out with another date, maybe in mid of November. Some parents are adequately prepared to get their children to school. But as we speak now, this date, we don't see it as feasible at all.
So what you want is a proper clarity on the matter, as well as an extension for the reporting date for the Form 1 students.
Exactly so.
Well, Irene, thank you so much. That's Irene Sam. She's Deputy PRO for the Council of Parent-Teacher Associations of Ghana. Now, there is a ray of hope for Adepa, a 1-year-old baby born with phocomelia, a congenital condition resulting in the absence of 3 limbs. Adepa has begun a sponsored physiotherapy process at the Orthopedic Training Center in Nsawam after several months of waiting. The training center offered the baby sponsorship after a GHOne and Star FM News report on her condition and the stigma faced by the family. There's more in the following report.
On September 5, 2024, AIB Network's Eastern Regional Correspondent, Kodjo, reported that Adepa's parents, both teachers living in Kwao Prayaso, were forced to relocate to Koforidua due to stigma and pressure to end their baby's life.
Some people suggested we take the life of the child, but since we did not create her, we have no reason to take her life.
I believe it is God that gives children. As human beings, we do not have that ability. If she was not killed in my womb, then there is no way I can kill her. Adepa, the 5th child of her parents, was delivered through caesarean section at Atibie Government Hospital. However, some doctors allegedly advised the couple to consider euthanasia to avoid the stigma and economic burden of raising a child with such a condition. The couple refused to end the life of their baby, born without arms or legs. After the GHOne and Star News report, the Orthopedic Training Centre at Nsawam offered Adepa sponsorship for physiotherapy services and provision of prosthetics and assistive devices to aid her mobility, ensuring timely access to education and independence. Reverend Elizabeth Newman, director of the Orthopedic Training Centre in Nsawam, is hopeful little Adepa will become independent.
Our first step will be to make her a prosthetic, a leg prosthetic, and teach her how to use it. As far as her hands are concerned, I think we can have her, with some intervention, learn how to feed herself with a spoon that would be attached to like a bracelet. Later on, when she grows, if she wants an artificial arm, that's possible.
Reverend Elizabeth Newman expressed concern that Ghana has made minimal progress in addressing stigma and other challenges facing persons with disabilities.
50 years later, I'm kind of sad that we have not made more progress in this field. So whatever the press can do to call the attention of the public and the government to persons living with some type of different ability, then we have to help. We have to do something, because these children are just like everyone else, and they need a chance in life, and they have a right. They have a right to everything that we have a right to. And so I thank you for following up on this.
She drew the government's attention to increasing cases of cerebral palsy and called for pragmatic measures to support those affected.
So yes, indeed, GHOne TV and Star FM indeed gets results, and congratulations to Adepa. We'll follow up to see how all of that pans out in the coming days. Now, Women in Law and Development in Africa is calling for a gender-inclusive environment in various institutions in the country. Now, according to the gender-based organization, women should be encouraged at all levels to participate in decision-making to engender development. The organization made the call during a roundtable discussion on gender equality.
The roundtable discussion saw participants engage in topics such as women's access to justice and combating sexual and gender-based violence, women's participation and representation in democratic governance, health, economic empowerment through land and agricultural rights, across-border trade, as well as TVET and girls' empowerment. The National Programs Coordinator for the WILDAF, Melody Daki, explains to GHOne TV the reasons for the roundtable discussion.
As WILDAF, which is a women's rights network, national network, we are looking at how gender responsive these sectors are. And so for us, we think that one of the key steps is to know what exists currently as far as policies and laws and institutional arrangements are concerned, and for us to ascertain, whether those policies, laws, and institutions are gender responsive.
She called on players in the mining, petroleum, and cocoa sectors to put in place policies that will encourage more women to venture into these spaces.
So at the end of the day, when we are able to cover everything, then we'll write our recommendations. We gathered from a previous meeting that there are some actions or a move towards amending some of these laws. So it is possible that we might make recommendations and engage some of these actors or regulators and even the Parliament, so that, or the drafters of the amendments, so that they can consider some of these issues.
Well, this is still News Tonight here on GHOne Television. Let's bring you the latest in the world of business. Center for Policy and Education contends that the government's continued attribution of Ghana's economic crisis to COVID-19 and Russia's invasion of Ukraine is largely unfounded. According to Imani, about 47% of the 2.1 billion in COVID-19 related revenue has not been used for its purpose, indicating that the crisis is primarily due to government's fiscal mismanagement. Senior Research Associate at Imani, Dennis Asari, highlighted these concerns during the third Imani Fiscal Recklessness Index, stressing the importance of transparency and accountability in Ghana's financial governance.
Since 1997, because we have not been committed to real public financial management reforms that will guarantee that fiscal stability, fiscal discipline, and give you that quality of public service delivery, that is why our economy is in crisis. And this is how we've done it. We have always been smart to cover it with both local and international borrowing. And so because we are able to cover all of these indisciplines under borrowing, sometimes it doesn't show. So the only time that we got shut out of the international financial market, the economy is in deep crisis and we are struggling heavily. Even though we are supported by the IMF, a country that has gone through an IMF program the 17th time, facing a lot of low revenue mobilization, and we have created a very expensive public expenditure on ourselves, you won't expect that economy will stop the bleeding, cut unnecessary expenditure, and ensure that we set ourselves on the path of fiscal discipline. But we have not. If you look at between 2021 and 2023, we had almost 21 billion Ghana cedis from COVID funds alone. Out of that, 47% of them was not used for COVID-related activities. Till today, we don't have a single report that shows us that the currently GVG contract for monitoring telecommunication revenue mobilization, there's not a single report that gives us value for money. That shows that because of that intervention, we are seeing value for money in monitoring telcos.
Well, that's it for business on the bulletin. We'll be right back with more. satellites have qualified to the semi for WAFU Zone B Under-20 Championship after a 1-1 draw with host nation Togo earlier this afternoon. The result saw Ghana top Group A with 5 points, ensuring their place in the last 4 of the tournament. Forward Jerry Efriye gave Ghana an early lead within the opening minutes of the match. However, Togo fought back to pull even in the second half, setting up a tense finish. Despite the pressure from the host, Ghana held firm, earning the crucial point needed to top the group with 5 points, followed by Niger, who sits second with 4 points. The WAFU Zone B Championship serves as a qualifier for the Under-20 African Championship. Well, that's all in the package this evening. Do have a wonderful evening. I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah, and the bulletin was produced by Lily Mohammed. Do have a lovely evening.